If you have an SDR team of 5, 10, 50, or even 100 plus SDRs making outbound dials in order to book sales meetings for a B2B or enterprise level solution, and you're running into one of these three problems when it comes to sourcing valid decision maker phone numbers, either number one, super high cost, you're paying 25 cents to sometimes even north of $2 per decision maker phone number with some of these other platforms. Number two, even the numbers you are getting are usually landlines, so you're suffering from super low accuracy. Or number three, you just don't have enough volume in order to scale. So if that is you, then in this video, I'm actually going to implement with you step by step one of our more effective systems for scraping valid decision maker mobile phones at a virtually unlimited scale while only spending around 1 cent cost per valid mobile. So that way, by the end of this little video here, you have a system that does the exact same. Also, this is the most ethical way to source data because we're only going to be pulling from public records. Now, before we dive in, if you're a C-suite executive at your firm and you just don't have time to watch a full video on the nitty-gritty implementation, then just watch the next 60 seconds here, start the timer. So why is this important? Well, four main reasons. So the first is going to be just the cost savings on the data alone. So looking at this chart here, assuming you've got 10 SDRs and your per day meeting quota per SDR is 4 meetings a day, fairly standard, that's going to be 40 meetings per day across your entire SDR team. Now let's assume you have a meeting set rate of about 2%, which again could fluctuate, fairly standard. That means you're going to need to be making about 2,000 dials per day. So that's going to amount to times 30, about 60,000 dials per month. Now, assuming you dial each contact about 5 times, again, this will vary, but we'll take on average, you're going to need about 12,000 contact mobiles per month. Now, just off of these numbers alone, using some of the other data providers, modeling out off of that 50 cents per phone number, you're going to be paying over 6 grand per month. Using this system, you're going to get that down to $120 per month, which this might not sound like much. That's 6 grand a month, but over 1 year, you're going to be saving north of $70,000 that you could allocate elsewhere in your operation. Now, obviously, this only includes 10 SDRs. If you have a larger team, if you got 50, 100 SDRs, well, you would multiply these numbers by 10, so you'd be saving just shy of $750,000 per year. And this is just the data costs alone. This does not include the payroll cost savings that you have due to now your idle time is actually reduced because you're actually always dialing numbers without running out. Number two, it doesn't include the higher profitability that you're going to be having due to actual increased response rates because you're not dialing tons of landlines anymore. You're only dialing valid mobiles. And number three, of course, you have infinite scalability. So when it comes to the CEOs out there, if you want to just get this done and you don't have time, feel free to pause the video right here, copy the share link, send this video to 2 people. Number one is going to be your head or director of outbound sales. And number two is going to be any in-house developer who has basic knowledge of Python, Postgres, and web scraping so that they can follow along for this build out. Without further ado, let's dive in. Now, there are going to be 3 main steps here. The first step is going to be partial number enrichment. So we're going to pull partial numbers from B2B contact databases. That's going to reveal the first 6 digits of the number. In this case, I'm going to show you how using Sales Handy. Number two, we're actually going to fully enrich that number using a SERP API and then upsert that complete number back into the Postgres database. And then finally, number three, we're actually going to validate all these mobile phone numbers in order to make sure that they actually are mobiles. Alrighty, let's jump in. For this build out, I'm actually going to give you the entire system via our GitHub repository with all the code so that you can just plug and play super quick. So start off by going into your VS Code, Windsurf, Cursor, whatever you use as an IDE, and then open a folder where you want to house this new project. So if you don't know how to do that, just go to File and then go to Open Folder and then select the folder that you want. And then once the folder is open, go to the terminal, press Control backtick as a shortcut in order to open that up, and then do git clone, and then paste in the URL for the GitHub repo. If you want to get access to the GitHub repo, just go into the description, throw in your email, and then we'll send that over to you in 5 seconds. Then once you have that, just click enter, and then it'll clone into this project. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so it just cloned into this YouTube folder here. So we have all the scripts here. Now, just for simplicity, I'm actually going to go ahead and open up this mobile scraping folder specifically using the same open folder function. So now that I've pulled the folder itself, we're going to want to open up a terminal. So Control backtick, and then do Python 3-m vnv.vnv if you're on a Mac. Now, if you're on a Windows, it might be something slightly different. You can look up the command. Then once this pop-up opens up, we're going to click yes, and then that's going to change our interpreter. So if we now trash this interpreter and open it back up, then we're going to see that the venv has not been activated. Okay, so in this case, if it doesn't activate, then just go to source.venv pip/bin/activate, and then you're going to activate the virtual environment that way. Next, you want to go pip install-r requirements.txt, run that. And then once that's completed, final thing is just rename this config file right here to config.py. And then one more thing, if you are on VS Code as well and you're having trouble getting the venv to show up in the interpreter, just go ahead and click the interpreter at the bottom, go up here, and then make sure you select the virtual environment interpreter and then trash the interpreter, open it back up, and then it should show the virtual environments there. Now, if you ever get stuck either during this initial build out or anytime in the future when you're trying to reorchestrate these steps, you can always come to the SOP.txt file right here and then see all these steps enumerated once again. The next thing we're going to want to do is download the prospects from our CRM whose mobiles we want to enrich, and we want to ensure that the following fields with these exact strings as nomenclature are present in the sheet that we download and nothing more. So that's going to be 4 things: contacts ID, first name, last name, and LinkedIn URL. And this contacts ID specifically is going to be the contacts ID assigned by your CRM. So in order to demonstrate this for you, obviously I've already done this with tens of thousands of records in the past, but just to show you live, I've pulled 100 records right here so that I can show you the demo. Next, we want to put our contacts into a Postgres database so that we can read and write from the database extremely quickly without using any CRM APIs. So in this case, we're going to use Supabase. So if you don't already have an account, you can create an account at supabase.com. And then once you create an account, it's going to ask you to set up an organization and project with a password. Just make sure to remember that password. Now, once you're inside of the dashboard, inside of the correct organization and the correct project, you want to go to the SQL editor on the left-hand side, and then you want to create a new snippet. And then you're going to want to copy and paste this command that we have here and then run that, and that will create a new table. The second thing that we want to do is create a new snippet once again, and then copy this command right here to create row level security and then run this. Now, if we go to table editor, and then we go to the public schema, we're going to see our contacts table here. Now in the config.py file, we want to set 3 things. First, we're going to set our Supabase connection string. So in order to get that, we're going to go to connect right here, and then it's going to pop up a few different strings. You want to select the one that says session pooler, and then you want to replace the your password in brackets in that string with your actual database password that you created at signup. Now, I'm not going to show you this obviously, so you don't get access to my database, but then you're going to want to put that inside your Supabase connection string right here. Next, we want to grab the Supabase URL. So for that, we're going to go to project settings, and then we're going to go to data API, and then copy this URL right here. And going back to the config, paste it in there. And the third thing we're going to want to get is our Supabase key. So for this, again, go to project settings, and then here, go to API keys. And then this service role key is what you're going to want to select. So you're going to click reveal and then click copy. I'm not going to do that in this case, so I don't reveal my secret key to you. And then go back to the config.py and then paste that in the Supabase key string here. Next, you want to actually upload the CSV of contacts. So go to import data from CSV and then drop your file there and then click import, and then those should show up there. I won't show them now just so I don't disclose any data. Next, we're going to want to set up this one enrich partial.py script. This is going to be the script that enriches the partial phone numbers from a tool like Sales Handy. Like I said, you can do this for multiple providers. In this case, we're just going to use Sales Handy. So if you don't already have an account, you can go to saleshandy.com and sign up for one. And then it's going to prompt you whether you want to use the V3 or the V2. I just use the V3, which is the most up to date. And then in here, what we want to do is we want to open the dev tools using Command Option I on Mac. You can also right click and then go to inspect. And then here, you're just going to want to make any kind of dummy search. So here we can literally just do, I don't know, employee count, and let's do 110, and then click search. And then once this populates, you want to make sure you go to the fetch XHR of the network tab inside of the dev tools. And then you want to click on search right here, and then just validate that this is actually the correct search. So starts at 1, let's see, Maceo Sloan. Okay, cool. So that is the correct search. And then we're going to want to right click on that, copy as CURL, and then come to curlconverter.com, and then make sure that this is set to Python down here. Then you're going to want to paste that in there, and then you're going to want to copy 2 things. The first is going to be the cookies right here. So you're going to want to copy that, and then you're going to want to paste that inside of the py file here, the config, and make sure you don't do double brackets there. Just make sure you paste the whole thing. And then the same thing for the headers as well. So copy that and then paste that inside here. And then, oops, let's actually get rid of that. It should just be equals. Make sure I didn't do that here. Cool. The next thing we're going to want to do is set up the number 2 enrich full.py script. So what this is going to do is this is going to use a SERP API called data for SEO to actually make Google searches that are going to contain a string with the first name of the prospect, the last name, and then also the partial phone number, and then do a match for whatever public record comes up for that phone number. So for this, just go to dataforseo.com and then try for free if you don't already have an account, or otherwise just log in. And then once you're inside here, you're going to want to go to API access on the left, and then make sure that your balance is topped up. Apparently mine is not, so I will take care of that off screen. And then here, you're going to want to grab your API login. So just copy that and then paste that inside of the data for SEO username right here. Second thing you're going to want to do is get your API password. Again, I'm not going to show that, and then paste that into your data for SEO password right there. And I don't know, I'm just going to reject this. I don't know why that's popping up. And then finally, we want to set up the 3validate.py script. So this is the script that's actually going to go through the numbers and verify that they are mobile and provide a little bit more validation information. So for that, we're going to use clearoutphone.io. So if you don't already have an account, you can go, and I guess they give you 100 free credits. Otherwise, just go and log in. And then once you're inside the dashboard, you're going to want to go to API on the left, and then you're going to want to copy the token that it shows you. I'm not going to show it on screen because then you're going to get access to my account and use up all my credits. So then you're going to want to make sure to put that into the clearoutphone API token field right here. Now, the final thing that we got to do is actually just go ahead and run these scripts sequentially. So we're going to want to do them in order. So you want to run the enrich partial.py scripts first. Again, this is going to get the partial numbers for all the prospects, pulling them from Sales Handy. Number 2, you're going to want to run the enrich full py script. So this is going to get the full numbers for all the prospects by taking the first name, last name, and the partial number, doing a Google search for that, and then regex finding the first matching number based on the permutations from public records. And then number 3, you're going to want to run the validate.py script after that to go ahead and validate all the phone numbers. So make sure you do number 1, you finish that script. Number 2, you run that script, you let that finish. And then finally, number 3, you let that script run and finish. Now I'm going to go ahead and do these right now. So for each script, if you don't already know, you just open up the scripts on the left and then go up here to the play button and click play. And I'm just going to skip ahead until the end. And then finally, once those scripts are done, you're going to be able to see all of the prospects here with their valid phone numbers, which I've just blurred out here so I don't leak the sensitive information. Now, in order to download this, super simple, just go to the SQL editor on the left again, create a new snippet, and then do select all from, and you can actually just copy it from here, run this, and then here, click export, download as CSV, and there you have it. So this is the result of the demo we just ran. So out of 100 contacts here, we found 62 full phone numbers, and of those, all of them were valid, and 44 of those were mobile. And this process here took just under 10 minutes. So you can figure you're getting about roughly 300 mobiles per hour. And so with this per day, that's going to amount to just over 7,200 mobiles per day. And obviously this is just with one process. If you want to go super hard and multi-process, then you can run even harder per day, but 7,200 I'm guessing is more than enough for most firms. And then obviously you've got the multi-processing if you do want to scale that up. So that is all I got for you for today. I hope this was super helpful for you. Make sure to download these scripts using the link in the description so that you can plug and play those. Let me know what your thoughts are, and of course, happy scaling your outbound.